The security guard's voice echoed through the terminal, harsh and unforgiving. "Sir, get out right now." All eyes turned to watch as Marcus Chen, clutching his sleeping 5-year-old daughter Lily to his chest, stood frozen in disbelief. What happened next would change everything, not just for Marcus, but for everyone who witnessed it that day. Hey everyone, if this story touches your heart the way it touched mine, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more incredible stories of triumph against the odds. Your support means everything to keeping these powerful stories of human connection alive. Marcus Chen never expected to be standing in the middle of Denver International Airport being publicly humiliated. 6 months ago, he had been a successful software engineer with a beautiful wife and daughter. Now he was a widower, a single father, and apparently, according to the airport staff surrounding him, a troublemaker. "I don't understand," Marcus said quietly, trying not to wake Lily, whose small head rested against his shoulder. Her favorite stuffed rabbit, Mr. Flopsy, the last birthday gift from her mother, dangled precariously from her limp fingers. "We have tickets. We're just trying to get home." The flight attendant, Diane Mercer, who had called security, crossed her arms. Her name tag gleamed under the harsh airport lighting as she pursed her lips. "Sir, your daughter was disruptive during boarding. We've made our decision. You'll need to leave the aircraft and the terminal immediately." Behind Diane stood her colleague, Sofia Rodriguez, who shifted uncomfortably, clearly conflicted about the situation. She had witnessed Lily's distress and recognized it wasn't typical misbehavior, but company policy and Diane's seniority kept her silent. What the flight crew didn't know, what Marcus had tried to explain before they cut him off, was that Lily wasn't being deliberately difficult. Since losing her mother to cancer 6 months ago, she had developed severe anxiety, especially in crowded places. The meltdown she'd had while boarding wasn't a tantrum, it was panic. "Please," Marcus whispered, feeling the stares of other passengers. "She's asleep now. She's just a little girl who lost her mom. We need to get home to her grandmother. She's expecting us." The security guard, a burly man with a buzz cut, stepped closer. "Sir, I won't ask again. Get out right now." An elderly woman with silver hair pulled into an elegant bun stepped forward. "Young man," she addressed the security guard, "I'm old enough to be your grandmother, and I'm telling you this is shameful." Her name was Eleanor Fitzgerald, a retired judge who had spent 40 years on the bench and recognized injustice when she saw it. Marcus felt something break inside him. Not just embarrassment or frustration, but a deep, aching sadness. He'd promised his late wife, May, that he would always protect their daughter. Now he couldn't even get her home safely. May had been a brilliant pediatric surgeon, saving countless children's lives before cancer claimed hers. The irony wasn't lost on him. As he turned to leave, a tall woman in a crisp business suit stepped forward from the crowd of onlookers. "Excuse me," she said, her voice carrying a natural authority that made everyone, including the security guard, pause. "My name is Vanessa Washington, and I'd like to know exactly why this man and his daughter are being removed." Diane began to explain about Lily's disruptive behavior, but Vanessa cut her off. "I was in first class. I saw what happened. That child was having an anxiety attack, not throwing a tantrum. And instead of showing compassion, you're throwing them out." Dr. Amara Okafor, a child psychologist returning from a conference, nodded in agreement. "As a medical professional, I can confirm what appears to be anxiety-related behavior, not deliberate disruption. This child needs support, not punishment." Marcus stared at the strangers defending them, unsure what to say. Lily stirred against his shoulder, murmuring in her sleep. "Mommy," she whispered, breaking his heart all over again. Vanessa turned to Marcus. "I have a private jet waiting on the tarmac. I'm flying to Seattle with my executive team. Is that anywhere near where you're headed?" Marcus blinked in surprise. "We're going to Portland." "But..." "Close enough. I can have my pilot make a detour." She turned back to the airline staff, whose expressions had shifted from righteous indignation to uncertainty. "I'll be taking these two with me. And I'll be speaking to your corporate office about how you treat grieving families." The security guard's mouth fell open. "Ma'am, you can't just." "I think you'll find I can." Vanessa pulled out her phone, made a quick call, and within minutes, an airport manager appeared, profusely apologetic. As Vanessa led Marcus and Lily toward a private exit, the whispers began. Someone recognized her, Vanessa Washington, tech CEO and philanthropist, whose company had recently made headlines for its groundbreaking work in medical technology. The same staff who had been so eager to remove Marcus now watched in shock as he and his daughter were escorted to a waiting luxury car. Sofia Rodriguez, the conflicted flight attendant, rushed after them. "Sir," she called, catching up to Marcus. "I'm so sorry about what happened. I should have spoken up." She pressed a business card into his hand. "I volunteer with a support group for children who've experienced loss. If your daughter ever needs help." Her voice trailed off, but her eyes conveyed genuine concern. "I don't know how to thank you all," Marcus said as they settled into the back seat of the luxury car, Lily still sleeping peacefully. Vanessa was joined by her chief of operations, Zara Patel, a brilliant strategist with kind eyes who immediately offered Marcus a bottle of water and asked if Lily might need anything when she woke. Vanessa smiled, the first softening of her businesslike demeanor. "No thanks needed. I lost my father when I was 8. I remember what it was like, that feeling that the world has suddenly become unsafe." She looked at Lily. "She's going to be okay, you know. She has you." The car took them directly onto the tarmac, where a sleek private jet waited. As they approached, Marcus couldn't help but think about how differently this day had turned out than he'd expected. This morning, his mother-in-law, Leanne, had tearfully hugged them goodbye in Chicago, making him promise to call as soon as they landed. May's mother had been their rock these past months, but she understood Marcus needed to restart his career, to build a new life for Lily. On the plane, they were greeted by Vanessa's personal assistant, Gabriela Morales, a warm, efficient woman who had arranged a comfortable sleeping area for Lily in case she needed to rest more. "My sister lost her husband 2 years ago," Gabriela confided to Marcus. "Her son was about your daughter's age. It's hard, but children are resilient." Lily woke up shortly after takeoff, initially confused and frightened by the unfamiliar surroundings. But the women on board had thought of everything. There were coloring books, snacks, and even a tablet loaded with children's movies. "My assistant has 3 kids," Vanessa explained with a smile. She made sure we were prepared. Zara Patel sat down next to Lily, showing her how to make origami animals from the fancy cocktail napkins. "My grandmother taught me this when I was your age," she explained, helping Lily fold a delicate paper crane. She said cranes bring good luck and healing. As the jet soared over the Rockies, Marcus found himself telling Vanessa his story, how he'd met May in college, their whirlwind romance, the birth of Lily, and then the devastating diagnosis that had come out of nowhere. Terminal cancer. 6 months from diagnosis to death. "The hardest part," he admitted, watching Lily happily folding paper with Zara, "is knowing she won't remember her mother. May was amazing, brilliant, kind, patient. She could perform complex surgeries with steady hands, then come home and patiently build elaborate blanket forts with Lily. She spoke 3 languages and was teaching Lily Mandarin. Now I'm afraid her heritage will fade away." Vanessa listened without interruption, offering neither platitudes nor pity, just understanding. When he finished, she shared her own story, how losing her father had driven her to succeed, to build something meaningful in his memory. "Grief changes us," she said. "But it doesn't have to break us." Dr. Rebecca Goldstein, Vanessa's company's chief medical officer who was also on board, joined their conversation. "I knew of your wife's work," she said quietly. "Her research on pediatric transplant procedures was groundbreaking. The medical community lost a visionary when she passed. As they flew over the Rockies, Vanessa made another surprising offer. Her company was expanding its Portland office, and they needed software engineers with exactly Marcus's expertise. "I'm not offering charity," she said firmly when he hesitated. "I've looked you up while we were talking. Your work at your previous company was impressive. We'd be lucky to have you. And," added Zara, "our Portland office has an on-site daycare center run by Maria Delgado. She's a miracle worker with children who've experienced trauma. Lily would be in good hands while you work." By the time they landed in Portland, Marcus had a job offer that would not only pay better than his previous position but also offered flexible hours and the option to work from home when Lily needed him. More importantly, he had connections to a support network he hadn't known existed. As they prepared to disembark, Lily, who had warmed considerably to the women during the flight, asked innocently, "Are you angels?" "Daddy says Mommy is an angel now, watching over us." Vanessa knelt down to Lily's level. "No, sweetheart, we're not angels. Just people who know what it's like to need help sometimes." Gabriella slipped Marcus a business card. "My sister runs a weekend playgroup for children who've lost parents. Lily would be welcome there. Sometimes it helps them to be around others who understand." Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. "You've all changed our lives today. I don't know if we'll ever be able to repay you." Vanessa shook her head. "There's nothing to repay. But there is something you can do for me." "Anything," Marcus said sincerely. "When you're back on your feet, when things are stable again, find someone else who needs help. Pass it on." She smiled. "That's how we heal the world, one act of kindness at a time." As they said their goodbyes, Marcus knew this wasn't just about a job or a ride on a private jet. It was about hope, the first real hope he'd felt since May died. The knowledge that even in the darkest moments, unexpected light could find its way in. 3 years later, Marcus stood in front of a room full of parents, all of whom had lost spouses and were raising children alone. The support group he'd founded with Vanessa's help had grown from 5 members to over 100, with chapters opening in cities across the country. Lily, now 8, sat in the front row, beaming with pride as her father spoke about resilience, about finding strength in community, about how the worst day of his life had led, unexpectedly, to a new purpose. Beside her sat her grandmother Lien, who had moved to Portland 6 months after they arrived, bringing with her May's family recipes, stories, and traditions to ensure Lily would always know her mother's heritage. Maria Delgado, who had indeed turned out to be a miracle worker, had helped Lily work through her anxiety with gentle patience. Now Lily was thriving, bilingual in English and Mandarin, taking ballet lessons, and mentoring younger children in the support group. Sofia Rodriguez, the flight attendant who had given Marcus her card that day at the airport, had quit her job and now worked full-time for the foundation, coordinating resources for grieving families. She sat near the back, clipboard in hand, organizing the next month's activities. Dr. Amara Okafor had developed a specialized therapy program for children experiencing grief-related anxiety, which was now being implemented in schools across the state. She nodded approvingly as Marcus spoke about the importance of recognizing anxiety in children. And in the back of the room, unannounced and unrecognized by most, Vanessa Washington listened, a small smile on her face, flanked by Zara Patel and Gabriela Morales. The investment they'd made wasn't just in Marcus or his daughter, but in the ripple effect of compassion that was now touching hundreds of lives. Eleanor Fitzgerald, the retired judge, had used her connections to help establish a legal aid program for single parents navigating the complexities of life after loss, insurance claims, estate issues, custody arrangements. She sat regally in her wheelchair, still elegant at 87, watching with satisfaction as her latest project flourished. Sometimes, the most powerful changes begin with the simplest words, "I'll help you." Words that can transform a moment of public humiliation into the first step on a journey of healing and hope. As Marcus finished his speech, he looked directly at Vanessa and repeated the words she'd said to him years ago, "That's how we heal the world, one act of kindness at a time." And in that moment, everyone in the room felt it, the truth that we are all connected, all vulnerable, and all capable of extraordinary compassion. That even in our darkest hours, unexpected angels might appear, not with wings and halos, but with the simple, human gift of kindness. If this story moved you, remember that you too have the power to be someone's unexpected angel. Like, subscribe, and share, but more importantly, look for opportunities to show kindness in a world that desperately needs it. Because sometimes, the person you help today might help 100 others tomorrow, creating a beautiful tapestry of connection that holds us all.